In this video, I'm going to be doing a little bit of disassembly and showing you how this carburetor works. This Briggs Stratton carburetor, which is used in Briggs Stratton engines, one-cylinder engines like this and like this. This happens to be an 8-horsepower motor, as well as, I believe the yellow one must also be an 8-horsepower motor. So first thing to point out, this is the side that comes from the intake, or your air filter. This is the side that goes into the engine. First thing I'd like to notice is, and this would go into the filter, into the elbow pipe, and the filter would go onto here. And I'm just going to take this bolt off. And as you can see, the hole goes right through it. I don't know if you can really see it, but yeah, there you go. So this hole goes right through the carburetor. Now, that means that if this bolt is not properly tightened here, and this is not closing this off, this means you're going to have a vacuum leak here, an air leak, and it's going to cause the engine to run bad. Second thing that's really obvious is the accelerator here. And it's a little bit confusing if you don't know what each thing is doing, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 adjustments. In other words, 4 variables, so it can get a bit confusing. Okay, we got this out of the way. Okay, going back to the accelerator here. So with the throttle wide open, that gives you your maximum acceleration. Closing this off all the way basically stops fuel and air from going into the engine, stalls the engine. So as you can see here, this bolt adjusts the minimum acceleration. So if I loosen this bolt all the way, this is going to cause the choke to close all the way, thereby starving the engine. And this other stop here, that's for the maximum acceleration, and that's non-adjustable. So when that hits there, throttle is open all the way. That's maximum acceleration. So ideally, in many situations, you want this to be all the way open or close to that. And this here has to be more tight than loose, because you can never go wrong by over tightening it. And by over tightening, I mean not stripping the threads on the screw. I mean leaving the choke too open too much. So basically, what's going to happen is if I tighten this a lot, the choke is going to stay open, and basically the engine is just going to be revving too high, which is fine. And then you just turn this down to get the economy. Okay, so that second thing here is choke. And the arrow there, as you can see, to the right. So if I go this way, that is the choke closed. So it's a bit confusing because choke, the whole thing is the choke. Is the choke open or closed that way? So I guess it's choked. It's in the sense that it's choke, like it's actually being choked, and this way it's all the way open. But we're talking about the lever or the space, so it's a bit confusing. But in this case, the circle here has to move to the right for the choke to be closed. If it's a hot day, we'll probably leave that open. I usually just leave it half open and then go that way. Okay, so there's the choke. The next thing that I want to find out is if this here is an adjustment or if this here is just to clean off the fuel bowl. Regardless, I want to clean this carburetor up a little bit, and here's the fuel entrance fuel. So the other thing is, this shaft here is connected to a spring and then to a little lever with an adjustment on the engine. And again, just by seeing how this works is the more it pushes up on this, the more acceleration we get. The more it pushes down, the more closed it's going to be. So, and the force of the engine naturally tries to open this. So we can't have too much force closing this down. But again, the acceleration screw, the throttle screw, is going to bypass this, whatever we have here. So one of the first things I should do is set a minimum acceleration on the throttle here. So I just tighten that screw up a little bit, quite a bit actually. And then once the engine is running, I'll loosen it till I get to a spot where I like. Now, this bolt here should be our screw, should be a mixture adjustment or gasoline. And then this here, I'm not sure if this plays a part in the carburetor system or if it's just, I know that you take this off so that you can drain the fuel, but I don't know if that's the only purpose it serves. We'll see. So after I remove this screw, then there's this piece, this piece, there's this piece. You can see right down there, that's actually the main jet for the carburetor. And I think in order to actually disassemble this carburetor completely, I have to get that off. It's got separated, but it won't separate completely. But definitely, that's the main jet right there. So that has to be properly adjusted. And really, there should be a spring here. I don't know why there isn't one, but so that's the main jet. And then this is the mixture screw. So that's how this thing works.